Hello, my name's Ian and I'm an ex-teacher and I'm going to take you through this session. But before we start properly, the first thing we need to do is make sure that everybody's logged on. So I'll see you in a bit. When you log in, you arrive at your own homepage. Before we go any further though, it might be worth mentioning that at any point that you want some guidance, there are page tours available via the life belt on the main menu. So here we are on the homepage. We'll come back here later. Now we're going to go through to the heart of the app, where we will find all of the how-tos. We're going to go through to the library. Right, when you get into the library, a default standard collection will be highlighted on the left-hand side. Standard collections are collections of how-tos that we've created. Put another way, it's how we have organised them. The sets of how-tos belonging to a standard collection are listed on the right. Some standard collections are pretty big, so to help signpost you to how-to techniques, we've subcategorized them into sets. You can, of course, change the standard collection you want to look at. And regardless of what standard collection you're looking at, you can scroll down through the sets until you see a set for whatever reason that you think is relevant to you and your professional learning. Now, while you're exploring a standard collection, so in this instance we're looking at the sets in the Barriers to Progress collection, we're going to look at the set of techniques under the question, is progress hindered by learners not knowing how to proceed with a task you have set? And when you click through to any set, the techniques contained within it come up, and you can scroll down through those techniques, and if any of the individual techniques grab your attention, maybe they seem relevant to your professional learning needs, you then click through to that particular technique. And as you can see, that particular technique page will load up. When you arrive on any technique page, you'll see that the first of 3, and in some cases 2, graphic formats loads up. The infographic loads up first because it's designed to give you the gist, the overview, the big picture of that particular technique before you then go into more detail, which is provided by the presentation view, which takes you through the same technique in step-by-step detail. Many techniques have a third viewing format. The books give you still more detail and they may make suggestions as to what other techniques lend themselves to being used either alongside, before or after the one you're looking at the moment. Remember, quick page tours are available via the life belt at any point. All professional learning activity, whether that be self-study, supported experiments, peer observations, we could include this session as a professional learning activity. They've got one thing in common. They're all about supporting us as teachers or trainers or endpoint assessors, whatever, to meet the learning needs and overcome the barriers to progress that we come across when we're teaching. So let's do an activity. As you explored the how-tos, you will have come across techniques that you're already familiar with. Rule of thumb, the longer you've been teaching, the more likely it is that you will have come across more techniques that you're already using as part of your practice. And you may also have come across techniques that you're less familiar with or have not seen before. The app has a range of features that are designed to help you capture that expertise and support you in sharing that expertise with your colleagues and support you and your colleagues in supporting each other. Let's have a look at those features now. All right, let's go back and use the Visual Instruction Plans processes, VIP's processes how-to, as we look at these features. Now you can see that next to the Sets button or tab, you'll see a bar that invites you to set your status. It's called a status bar for the how-to technique that you're looking at. There are 3 status options. It might be a technique you are considering adding to your teaching repertoire, or it might be a technique you're currently working on adding to your repertoire because you've seen that it will help you meet a particular learning need, overcome a barrier to progress, or it may be a technique you already use confidently and have embedded in your practice, by which we mean you would be confident to describe or show others how you use this particular technique when you are teaching. No reports to write up, nothing to file, just clicking a button. By selecting one of those 3 options, you are instantly communicating to all of your colleagues that this is a technique you are considering, working on, or in this case, have embedded in your practice. Next to the bar giving you the status options, you'll see 3 small square boxes. The numbers in each of the boxes represent the number of colleagues across your organisation who are also either considering, working on, or have embedded a particular technique. Don't be surprised that if this is the first time you and your colleagues have used the site, the numbers will show 0, but that will change. Click on the numbers and you'll be given the option of seeing who the colleagues are, as well as the opportunity of sending them a note to perhaps start a conversation with them, or nudging them to ask for or offer support in developing your or their practice. All of this is designed and intended to help you share your learning and capture best practice with your colleagues and make it easier for you to ask for and offer support. A bit more on this a bit later on. All right, time for another activity. A quick change of that status tab to embedded tells everybody in your organisation that you are the person to go to talk to about using that technique as part of a teaching sequence. Now you have set a status for 2 or more techniques to considering it, it's time to decide which one of those techniques you're going to work on as part of this session. It may be useful for you to have a scheme of work or similar to hand, or if not to hand, in mind as you work. There are features that will help you as you think about how you're going to adapt this technique into your teaching. Every how-to has a How It Helps tab. This gives you access to what we call impact statements. These can be accessed via the Learning Outcomes tab, where you can also access ideas for using particular forms of educational technology via, funnily enough, the EdTech tab. You can add notes at any time. You can use the notes feature privately, maybe to capture your reflections and ideas as you plan to use or after you have used the technique as part of your teaching. Or you can use it to discuss ideas with colleagues. To do this, you just choose the specific colleagues option, then start to type in the name of the colleagues you'd like to work with. Remember, their name will only come up if they've activated their account. If you decide to share your notes with colleagues, any notes made are pushed to emails. It kind of works like a chat feature. So if you get a note pop up in your email, you can reply directly to it from that email. Time for another activity. Take some time to think about how you are going to adapt a particular technique into your teaching sequence. Change the status of that technique to working on it. So you've recorded how you are going to adopt and adapt a technique into your teaching. What now? Well, we're going to have a look at how easy it is to use the app to capture and share professional learning, and for you and your colleagues to support each other as part of that professional learning. Remember the status bars that are on every page. Any statuses created are fed into the organisation's skills exchange. All of the statuses set by you and colleagues across the organisation are visible in the skills exchange, which is accessible all of the time on the top main menu bar. If we click through, a record of your updating your teaching knowledge will show up. The exchange will show which techniques you are considering, working on, or have already embedded in your practice. Next to the tab that shows your statuses, there's another that shows the statuses for everyone in the organisation. You can view the statuses by how to or by user. View by how to, and you have the option of contacting colleagues via a note or a nudge. View by user, and you can nudge them. This all means you can see who amongst your peers you can go to for support, and your peers can also contact you so you can support them. And remember, you can also use the notes feature to share your learning, perhaps as part of a peer observation or supported experiment type professional learning activity. Oh, quick bit on changing the visibility of an existing note. Maybe you've set the status to private and you now want to open up a conversation. Open the notes on the how-to page, select the note that you want to change the visibility for, select edit and change visibility. As we said, if you use them in this way, the notes features act as a kind of chat feature, with notes being pushed to and replied to from email. How-tos are such an effective way of supporting anyone in a teaching role, that's you, in furthering your teaching skills and knowledge, and in supporting you in supporting each other. Thanks for sticking with it. I hope you found it useful. Here's a few more ideas.